Long ball number one here for Friday, the final day of January 2025. As we woke up through bleary eyes, the Champions League draw happened, and there was some big draws, notably Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. But let's hammer down a little bit on where and who the American stars are going to be taking on. Plenty of Americans involved in the Champions League this year. We got Americans on AC Milan, Juventus, Celtic, Dortmund. Who are they going to be taking on there, Jason?
Yeah, this is obviously a new format, right? We're all adjusting to the way the Champions League works now. First of all, let me ask you, Rob, do you like it? Did you like it? Do you feel good about it? Was it fun for you? Those are important questions to ask, right?
The draw or the format, did you ask?
The format, the way this Champions League worked this time, because it's not the usual way.
So yeah, definitely the first year for this format. In the first 2 or 3 match weeks, I wasn't really sure what to make of it because we didn't know what the stakes were. Like, can you lose 2 or 3 games and still make it through? Just how important was every single match day? But having the 18 games all at once on one day was pretty awesome. I'll admit.
You liked it?
It was pretty. You didn't like it?
So much. It was so much.
What was the word you used? Because it was a gluttony of goals. Not only was there a ton of games, but there was a ton of goals in all of those games. Just about. Yeah. What was the word you used for gluttony of goals? What was the word you used for it on Wednesday?
We somebody on Blue Sky suggested footinalia, as in like a bacchanalia, and that's where I went. And then I'm a cultured guy, or I like to think of myself as a cultured guy. So bacchanalia has some ancient Rome connotations and involves wine and frolicking. I'm going to say that. I'm going to be family friendly and say frolicking is part of that. So it's an explosion. It's a lot of something. It's too much maybe. I don't know. I'm still caught between I like the entertainment value. I don't think this particular edition delivered as much drama as I wanted. I saw Miguel Delaney, noted football writer, say as much. There wasn't a lot of drama here. It was, besides Manchester City needing to beat Brugge, we didn't really have a lot of win and you're in, lose and you're out kind of stuff happening. It actually happened more in the Europa League yesterday, but I don't think we have time to break that down. Okay, as for the draw, in the playoff round, this is the knockout playoff. These matchups will deliver teams to the round of 16, where 8 teams have already qualified. Obviously, those are the top 8 teams in the tournament. And as you mentioned, we've got American interests involved here, right?
Many interests.
We can say that Brest and PSG, all French matchup. Okay, whatever. No Americans involved there. Kind of disappointed it's an all French matchup, and I feel bad for Brest because they've been a surprise in this tournament. They did lose their last 2 matches in the league phase, which hurt them a lot in terms of their standing. So they get a powerhouse who struggled themselves in the league phase in PSG. Brugge and Atalanta. I'm a fan of Atalanta. I'm a fan of Gianpiero Gasperini. I like what they're doing there. It's so much fun, that story of Atalanta, but obviously no Americans there. Interesting matchup. Manchester City, Real Madrid, that's the headline, right? That's the pullout. That's, oh my gosh, that's the one we get in the knockout playoff is Real Madrid and Manchester City. I cannot believe that they're facing off at this stage. Obviously Madrid wins this thing a lot. City's going through this. What do you call this?
Very weird slump of all slumps.
It's like if Manchester City woke up in somebody else's body. Isn't it kind of like that? It's like a body switching kind of vibe right now for Manchester City.
Are they getting space jammed? Are there aliens taking their mojo and all of a sudden there's like some random alien team that's like sick at soccer that's going to come out next year?
Could be. I do think a soccer version of Space Jam makes a lot of sense. Juventus and PSV Eindhoven. Now, this could have been Americans versus. We could have had as many as 4 Americans involved in this matchup, and yet we have been robbed. And we will get to why we've been robbed of 4 Americans in this matchup later in the show when we talk about Ricardo Pepi.
Are we down to 1 American in that one?
No, I believe 2. I believe Tim Weah is available for you.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a matter of whether he plays, of course. But Weston McKennie, who captained Juventus.
That's wild.
In their final match of the league phase. Now, they lost. It wasn't a great performance. He was playing left back for reasons I don't fathom. Why? So how he's played every outfield position except for every outfield position. He has played every position except for goalkeeper, I think is what we're at with Weston McKennie.
Honestly, I do think that we could be maybe not right wing, but I mean, he's played multiple midfield positions. He's played fullback positions. I'm sure at some point, at least like momentarily, he's filled that in at center back. But yeah, he's been asked to do a heck of a lot, and the fact that like he didn't have a parking space at preseason, and then now he's wearing the armband is quite the come up, and a story of his own right.
And look, I think a lot of us are jaded at this point, or cynical, or we're just over this whole like we're constantly talking about the firsts, because it makes you feel a little less than when you're like, oh, an American for the first time ever has done this thing in Europe, and so I don't know that a lot of people are really making a big deal out of it, but we probably should, right? We probably should make a big deal that Weston McKennie, an American kid from Texas, captained one of the most famous soccer clubs in the world in the biggest soccer competition in the world. That's a thing. Whether it you can find ways to diminish it if you want, but I still think that's a big deal. Obviously, again, PSV, Ricardo Pepi injured after scoring against Liverpool in the final day. That's disappointing. And Malik Tillman was already injured. Now, it's possible that Tillman could be back. I have to check on his prognosis, his status, Rob, but it's still disappointing that we might not get all four of them on the field together. Monaco Benfica, no, there is an American potentially involved there, except he's gone missing, and that's Fowler and Balogun. And obviously with now Ricardo Pepi picking up his injury, this is going to make things very difficult for Mauricio Pochettino going into March with his Nations League campaign underway. Very, very disappointing. So could Balogun play a role in this matchup against Benfica? Sure. I think it's possible, but there's nothing right now that indicates he's going to be ready to go at a high level when Monaco and Benfica face off. Sporting Lisbon gets Dortmund. Man, how much time we got? Do we really have time to dive into the Gio Reyna saga at Borussia Dortmund again? Because I feel like this is all we do is talk about Gio and whether he's going to play. Incredible backheel assist on the final match day. Dortmund in transition. They just hired Niko Kovac. We don't know what that means for Gio yet. Hope it means he gets a chance at least to prove himself. He still seems to be second choice to Julian Brandt at every turn. He gets minutes late in games. He does magical things, and then he goes back to the bench. Rob, I don't know what you think about this, but obviously this is a decent draw for Dortmund. Like they can certainly beat Sporting and make their way into the round of 16.
Trying to think of my memory of Niko Kovac, the new Dortmund manager. Was he the manager that had the flame out stint at Bayern, or was he the one that was at Schalke in their last days?
He was at Bayern Munich back in 2018, 2019. So he had a stint there. He just didn't stick in terms of his managerial career at Bayern Munich.
So hopefully that's a good thing for Gio, and he can get more playing time. I had an email exchange with Nate where he was really, really excited about the assist, the back heel. It was very fun, but I replied to him, I just want to see more of it. It's like he's capable of so many exciting moments that we just pray that we get to see that like on a week in, week out basis, just at least for some sort of an extended period of time. But so going down the list, if they get through these rounds, so McKennie and company would, if they get past PSV, they would take on Arsenal, Inter. Celtic take on Bayern. I'm not holding out much hope for them there, but they'll take on Atletico Leverkusen.
Let's pause there because we haven't gotten through all of this with the Americans. So let's make sure we're complete here. Celtic obviously has two Americans at center back. Tough challenge going up against Bayern Munich and Harry Kane and Musiala and Olise and the whole crew, right? The whole crew that they got going over there at Bayern Munich. But I do think I like that there's going to be a challenge. Now, will it be difficult for Vickers and Trusty? Clearly. Carter Vickers, excuse me. Clearly. But I guess, look, it's a big deal Celtic made it this far. So you're going to get a big club or you're going to get a tough challenge. You would prefer not to have Bayern Munich. I think you'd rather have, name any team except for Manchester City, Real Madrid probably in this group than have Bayern Munich. But still, I think that's cool. Bayern Munich, by the way, since Canada kind of like our little brothers. You're very close to Canada. Let's give some love to Canada. Alphonso Davies and
Why
Bayern
not?
Munich. That's their draw. Alphonso isn't American, but kind of wish he was. Feyenoord and AC Milan. Obviously, AC Milan has 2 Americans. One of them got sent off against Dinamo Zagreb and really hurt his team in Yunus Musa. I don't know what that means for his potential. I mean, he won't be eligible to play in the first leg of this tie, so he won't even see him then. Pulisic scored in that game against Zagreb. I think, I kind of trust that at this point he's going to be fine. He's going to continue to score goals when needed. There's no reason to doubt him at this point, right?
No, I don't think so. But I think that you made a good point that we should note that this is a 2-legged round, and that the first one will be in 2 weeks, and then the second round in 3 weeks from there.
Let me also throw in this
Okay.
this note, because this is transfer season. We are a couple of days, or I guess the window is closing very, very shortly. In fact, the update is that Santiago Jimenez, the Feyenoord striker, the Mexican striker who plays at Feyenoord, will be joining Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa at AC Milan before this window closes. They are apparently very close to a deal. So that's the thing that could change between this draw happening now and the games happening in a couple weeks, is that Feyenoord could be down one of their best players who is joining the team they have drawn in the Champions League. I just think that that's pretty fascinating, if you ask me.
Yeah, no doubt. We shall see how this plays out. Like I said, in 2 weeks, the Champions League sparks up